All right, we're back, and what I have up on the screen now, what you should be seeing is I've shared the Microsoft Word document that I shared an image of this afternoon, or this morning rather. And so for those of us who don't know Turkish so well, specifically what kind of is this? For those of you who know Turkish well and can explain to the rest of us, what can explain what this policy is? What is this?
So the examiner during the exam hall responsible for conducting the exams fairly.
Mm-hmm.
In the first sentence.
Right. Yeah. So it's about fair giving. So it's about giving exams, but yeah, specifically, I would say what I'm kind of wanting us to discuss today from an ethical standpoint, is kind of this line here. I think was the one that caught my attention. What's the basics of that one?
So if an examiner detects a students who cheating or given a cheat or helping the others who cheating during the exam time, if they detect, they will declare them to the principal. Not the principal, but I mean the responsible people.
Mm-hmm.
It says like that.
Yeah. So basically, don't copy and don't help anyone to copy is essentially what they're saying, right?
Yeah, in a nutshell.
Yeah, and now this relates to exams, but I'm thinking the university also has a policy against this for homework and for quizzes and stuff like that too, right? Yes? No? Do we have this policy at our university? Okay. Are you guys afraid to speak? No. Okay. Caveat. Okay. Thing. I am not. I am not saying it's okay to cheat. Okay. I'm not saying whatever the university policy is, I will follow it. Okay. So and we all will follow it. Right. So there's no question on that. All right. But uh, what I'm wanting to kind of talk through is why. Why does this policy exist? Why does the university say that you cannot copy uh, an answer on an exam or a solution for a homework assignment? Why does the university say you cannot copy that from someone else? Why? What is the reason for this?
Well, Professor, according to me, I think the university they are trying to define the ethic rules. Because there might be some people came from the another culture, kind of like from another country. They are trying to define the ethic rules during the exam. Yeah,
Okay.
because of bring fair to everyone, you know.
Okay. Yeah. So just wanting to make things the same rules for everyone. They want to have the same rules for everybody. Okay. But okay, then the question would be why? Why this rule though? Why not say, okay, everyone has, it's okay if you copy from someone else. We won't punish anyone who copies from someone. Why did they choose this rule instead of something else? Is it understood what I'm asking? I'm trying to say, okay, what when we have rules such as, let's say for example, the road here outside of my house, there's a speed limit. But if you go higher than the speed limit, you can get a traffic ticket and and have to pay a fine, right? A jaza, right? Uh, why do
Professor,
they have the speed limit? It's so that they can keep people safe, right? So that if the cars are not going too fast, right? So yes, Mehmet, go ahead.
yeah, for example, they put a sign about speed limit right in front of the street nearby your house. So they are trying to also define the rule for this street. I mean, in a highway, there are no speed limit, kind of like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, there are other rules for there. So it depends on where you are.
Right. And the speed limit would be lower here. And I would say for here, if this example, they're trying to protect, children who might be crossing the street. There's a school nearby. They might be trying to protect other cars, that there's not as much visibility, like on a highway, like you mentioned, Mehmet. So they're trying to protect people, right? That's why the speed limit exists. Well, what are they trying to protect, or what are they trying to do with the don't copy from your neighbor in the exam rule?
Can I speak?
Of course.
A simple cheating on the university exam, say at a medical school, may have very severe long-term consequences. Like a medical school student cheating on exams will, like 10 years later or 5 years later, become a doctor, which will which may kill someone
Mm-hmm.
because of his lack of knowledge, because of his cheating during his university years. So like that's that's the issue. Like
Okay.
cheating leads to can lead to severe consequences.
Yeah. No, I totally agree that if I would be concerned if I had to have a surgery and I found out that the doctor performing the surgery cheated on all of their exams and copied from their friend and didn't know the information. Of course, yeah. So, but but what about like a CSE 101 programming exam? I teach the 101 and the 102 course. Some of you here know that. Right? So is it really all that important that they don't cheat? Should that rule apply to them too?
I think it is obligatory, I guess, because they want to avoid unfair grading, right? They don't want to pass the the students to pass the course without no qualify.
Right. Yeah, and so let me think. Is it possible that a student could copy from another student and still learn the material? Like maybe they know it, but they just didn't remember it during the exam, or they didn't remember it during the quiz, and so they asked their friend for some help. Is that possible? Yeah. So. Yeah, so Numan is asking some good questions here. He's saying, so I think what you guys are understanding, or at least what Numan's questions are indicating, is the purpose of our university is for students to learn and be given skills, right? Be given, whether it be in the 101, 102 basic programming skills, whether it be in maybe if there's an artificial intelligence course that would be, basic understanding of artificial intelligence algorithms and technologies, right? So the purpose is for them to gain that information and gain those skills. And as far as the cheating is concerned, I think that's really focused on the ability of professors to grade the students to understand, to gain understanding of what the students know, right? But why would students cheat? Why do we need to have this rule? Why shouldn't students just know that they shouldn't cheat? Shouldn't students just know that that they need to show their own work? What would prevent some students from, like, what might cause a student to want to cheat?
As far as I can see, students are more concerned about their grades rather than learning the subject they are being teach. So they are kind of fixated on the results, not how you get them. As long as the system does not punish them, or as long as they have opportunity to have a gain without consequence, they tend to cheat. But I think we should not try to prevent cheating, because if we try to do something against cheating, we are giving them a challenge. So if we put too much conditions, and if they can cheat in those conditions regardless, they will feel empowered, because they feel like they are doing something really how to say, extreme. They will get more adrenaline from that. Instead of that, we should teach people not to cheat mentally. Even if we don't put any cameras, even if we don't have any way of watching them, they should feel like we shouldn't cheat, because we need to learn this topic in order to graduate from this program, or to get certain certificates or certain capabilities. So it's not about the grade. It's about whether I know this subject or not. But I don't think that's applicable in our society, because since the infancy, people are motivated towards grades. I think most of the Asian countries like that. We are prioritize grades more than what we learn. So in the end, we create a crooked system. Whenever a person have opportunity to have a gain without any consequence, they don't think ethical side of it. That's all for me.
Yeah, Melly, you're bringing up some good comments, and one of the comments you made me think, oh, I know that you have been a teaching assistant before and are currently one, so I think you're speaking. One of your comments reminded me that sometimes the students spend more time figuring out how to beat the system, how to cheat, than they do spend time actually studying the material, right?
Yeah, that's correct, because that's more glorifying. Instead of studying, I found a way to cheat. That's more cool, maybe, in their friend groups.
Absolutely. So this brings up an interesting question for me. This is kind of where I was headed with this. Is you suggested that we don't try to stop them from cheating. that maybe that might be better, because here's what I'm thinking, what I'm wondering. Is there a way that we could get both things that we want, right? Where the university can get what they want, where the students learn the material and they gain the skills that we're trying to give them, but we don't have to put this rule on them, or we don't have to try to prevent them from doing something, right? Is there a way? Is there? Maybe we can say this is a problem, like a problem statement, right? So is there a possible solution that would be able to do both, you know?
Sir, I think this is a very, very long-term problem.
Mm-hmm.
The problem, the solution lies underneath this problem is, as we often say in Turkish, eğitim şart.
Okay, well, what does that mean? I don't know that one. I don't know that phrase in Turkish.
Education is mandatory.
Mm.
We have to educate all of the society instead of individuals.
Mm. Mm. But is there a way we can do that without having this like cheating, don't cheat rule thing? Is there some way that we can encourage students to learn their material, to learn, and I don't want to say just learn the information, because that just sounds like the memorizing information and data, which is not really learning, but gaining the skills. I guess maybe, yeah, so how would you do that? How would we do that? Because I think one of the things that both Melih and Muratcan have brought up is, Melih talked about the Asian cultures, and Muratcan, you mentioned the Turkish culture. Is there something in Turkish culture that makes cheating attractive, that makes getting the grade more important than learning the material?
Maybe we need motivations instead of rules.
Mm. Yeah. Because currently, I think Melih brought this up. Well, the current motivation is what? What are the students trying to get as now? What are they trying to get? What is most important?
They are just trying to get a degree so they can move on their lives and get a job. But I think that's also a responsibility of the job market to, you know, when they are picking a person, they should also be more picky. Getting a degree should mean nothing, if you ask me, because that's something, but that's an indication of person talents. So if a person graduated from computer science engineering, a recruiter can think that this person can learn concept of computer, for example, developing an app. Even if our students never worked on that field, we are telling the job market that the students are able to learn certain stuff and they have basic knowledge about computer development. So students who get their degrees cheaply without putting too much effort actually also kind of creating a result that getting a degree is not that important, because if too much under talented people graduate from a faculty, that faculty's reputation also decreases, because if a recruiter interviews multiple students from a certain faculty, for example, Akdeniz University. And after that, rumors can spread out about our faculty not being up par with other faculties. So in order to prevent that, we should also put some measurements to prevent, unsatisfactory students shouldn't be able to graduate. But as you said, that's really hard because we are middle of the pandemic. We were able to more efficiently test people's knowledge before because we were able to attend their exam and watch whether they are copying or not. But at this stage, we created a problem that there will be graduate students who normally wouldn't be graduated from our faculty because the exams were written exams. I cannot come up with immediate solution to this problem. We might increase the security, but that's against my philosophy because that's like enforcing something we shouldn't be doing so. It's like telling we are not trusting you, but we should be able to trust our students. So we need to solve this problem not here. We should be able to solve this problem starting from primary school. We should teach our kids not to cheat but learn, and you should have responsibility, not grades. You should be able to take responsibility and you should be proud of yourself whether you get high grade or low grade. You tried your best. For example, your friend Mehmet got A, but you got C. Your effort still counts. But in our society, that was your previous question, always grades are compared. Even when you get 90, for example, if other student get 95, your parents will say, Ahmet took 95, why did you take 90? And that sort of pressure really builds up. Even for medical students and even for higher grade students, that pressure always stays up to university. They think we don't have to enter any important exams after university exam. But here we still have exams and we have some sort of competition. And our students are usually too tired to put real effort into the degree they should be getting because until that stage they build so much stress up from society, from their parents, from their teachers. We need more laid-back educational system that does not prioritize students' grades. Rather, it takes consideration to their talents. So students can feel confident in their talents and they might be able to feel, motivated to show their talents. But that's really starts from the root of the society, because when a person came to 20 years old, their character is already, built. So we cannot change it that much. So sorry for the long talk. Maybe I.
Oh no. I want this. I want you guys to discuss this because I want to be perfectly clear. I don't have the answer to this. Okay. One of the things of one of my undergraduate students, they oftentimes they hear me say things like trade-off, and I don't like the words always and never and things like that. I don't think there's just a one obvious solution to this to a problem, right? Obviously in an ideal world, in a perfect world, what we would be able to do is we would be able to sit down with every student individually, every student that wants to become a computer programmer. We would be able to sit down with them one-on-one and be able to walk through with them how to become a computer programmer, right? How to learn a programming language, how to solve problems, how to, but we can't do that, right? I mean, the 101, 102 course has over 150 students in it. You know, I cannot take the time to sit down with each one of those students individually, even with a teaching assistant for that course. We cannot take the time to sit down with each individual student one-on-one and assess all the small problems that this student might not understand or this student might not understand. You know, so we don't live in a perfect world, unfortunately. Yeah, and so what places like universities do is they say, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to have exams to test people, to test them, to see what they know, right? And we're going to put a rule in place that says you're not allowed to cheat, and if you get caught copying off of someone else, you'll get a 0 on the exam and you'll fail the course, right? And that's a solution, but you know, as what I've been hearing what somebody says, you know, for some of you, you know, you've brought up that for some of these students, the glory, the good name that comes from being able to beat the cheating system sometimes is even better than getting a good grade on the exam, right? I think I heard someone say something or write something that kind of suggested that, right? And so, and I guess for me, one of the things that I'm often trying to do is trying to figure out, okay, how can we get both things that we, or how can, so like, you know, I want the students to gain the skills that they want, right? You know, I also would like them to get good grades too, but I really more than anything want them to get the skills that they are here to gain, right? And the students, what do they want? They want glory, right? They want a good name. They want to be able to get a good job, right? To be able to support a family. These are all good things that they want, right? So is there a way that we can, within the system, you know, get both of those things, all right? Does that make sense? Am I an idealist? Yes, there's a way, or yes, I'm an idealist, Seth. So yes, I think I am, unfortunately sometimes, but and I guess for me, it's like this is part of what we need to ask ourselves is, yeah, you know, students can select the lessons that motivate. Yeah. Right. So I think what Newman is suggesting is that if students were taking the classes and the lessons that they want to learn, then that could reduce how much they might feel a need to copy off others, right? Because if I want to learn this material, then I will try on my own, right? Which actually brings up an interesting comment I'd like to make too, because, you know, years ago, for a doctorate class, I took an online class as well. I took an online class a while back, a long time ago. And I really didn't have I didn't know anyone in the class for one, but I didn't really have a whole lot of desire to copy or to cheat in that course. But I think part of it was because I had paid for the course, right? And so it was something I wanted to learn, and I didn't want to feel like my money was, I didn't want to just get a good grade. I wanted to actually learn the material, right? And so I think part of the problem has been with the current online course situation is we just kind of took the classroom environment and moved it online instead of making it something valuable, right, for them to learn the material, right? Because I think what I'm gathering from what the comments are making is that, if I'm correct, and help me out here if I'm not, if maybe you have some additional comments, but the value is in the grade, right? The value is in the priority is the grade. As Melly said, even the letter grade isn't even important if someone got a higher point than you, right? So if I got an A but somebody else got a higher A, right? That's not good. I want to get the highest A, right? And so the grade is the value, which ultimately the grade will get you the degree and the grade will get you the job, right? And so it becomes do whatever it takes to get the grade. Right. Well, and I don't mean what the true value is, Seth. I mean, in terms of the mind of the student, the value, the priority is get a good grade. Do whatever it takes to get a good grade. Right. But the priority for the university is what you said, Seth. The priority for the university is that the student retain the knowledge, that the student retain the material, the skill, right? So if we're thinking Venn diagrams, is there anywhere where those two overlap, right? Is there anywhere where getting a good grade and retaining that skill overlap? Is there a way that we can help with that? Yeah, we just need to align the goals of the student in the university. Simple, right? It's simple, right, Seth? And we're laughing because that sounds simple. So, All right. So how do we do that? And I'm going to leave you guys with that question, right? Because that's really the question of what we're trying to do, isn't it? We want to have both the university and the student gain what they want, right? Gain whatever it is that what their goals are, what their priorities are, right? So as a teacher at this university, if any of you have ideas on how I can do that for my students, I am open to suggestions. So please, contact me and let me know. Because ultimately, like I said, I will follow whatever university policies there are, but I want to do whatever it takes for my students to be able to gain the skills that they need to be able to be successful. And so trying to figure out how to do that, maybe that's idealistic, as some of you have told me that I am here today. But I think there must be a way for us to be able to all get what we want. So how can we do that in an ethical way? All right, in a way that where we submit to the authorities over us, like the university and their policy and stuff like that, but also obtain the goals that we are all trying to achieve. All right, so I'll leave you guys with that question. Just consider how can goals of two different parties involved work? How can we align them together so they can work together so that everyone can achieve their goals? All right. So for those of you who are in the doctorate program, one day you will possibly be a professor yourself. You'll be a teacher at a university, and you will need to try to figure out how to align your goals with those of your students. All right, so maybe it'd be a good thing for you to go ahead and think about those now, even. Yeah. Game theory, yeah. Right. Could be a good research topic too. All right. Any other comments? Anything else in light of this? Thank you guys so much for your discussion today. A lot of good comments were made, and I hope that we can have some more in-depth discussions like this in the future. All right, in the future weeks as we do this. All right. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good afternoon, rest of your afternoon, and I will see you next week.